These are the matchups for today. It's Kelazhur, Reynor, Clem versus Trigger, and Elazer versus Serral. It's obviously a best of 7, guys. So first team to 4 gets the dub. An 8 series win streak against a 9 series win streak. Diego gets 67. I think they did our man Diego a little dirty there, to be totally honest. I'm not sure about the music volume, but... Reynor! Oh! They gave him some love for winning the Home Story Cup, guys. 86! He's making moves! 86 for the Italian Stallion! That is the highest they have given Reynor all season long. I'm gonna go ahead and disable my alerts as well, even though this is not the time of the day that we really get a lot of alerts, but I want to make sure that you guys can just enjoy the WTL to the fullest. 86, jeez Louise. Should we start talking about how they are overrating Reynor a little bit? Hello, Ayogu. They checked Roddy's Warcraft 3 playtime in the last 10 years and they were like, nah, this dude isn't one of us anymore. I've played a little Warcraft in the last 10 years. Is there a way to watch the GSL games Reynor 1? YouTube? Probably, but that's a long time ago, mate. Bottom left side of Royal Blood to kick off this clan war. It's Kelazhur for Team Liquid. In the top right side, we are looking at the main base of our reigning, defending, back-to-back home story champ. It's Reynor. Team Liquid is 8-1. They lost on the very first playday of the season against Dragon Kaisi Gaming. After that, they won 8 series in a row. We are 9-0. Reynor has no camera today, guys, because he moved his setup and he forgot his camera. And Diego is letting us know that he's not here for a long time, but he's here for a good time. Sending out the boys. Unbelievable. Hello, hello, Mag. Go, Clem and Basilisk. It's okay. We love Team Liquid as well. You guys are obviously allowed to cheer for Team Liquid too. I will not hold it against you. Team Liquid is a beautiful orc. But of course, I am a biased caster. And I am rooting for our boys. Reynor's Overlord, guys, I think is going to get close enough to scout this. But I think by the time he sees it, it's too late to... No, he moved it. Reynor. Reynor moves it right before he would have seen the 2 barracks immediately. Oh. It's okay. No picnic yet. But obviously it would have been nicer to get the confirmation. Now Reynor does see one SCV. Now he sees the second one. At this point, Reynor knows. Reynor at this point knows what he's up against, but we cannot mess up here. Diego, cheeky boy. Unbelievable, by the way. We drove him home from Krefeld. This is how he repays us. We have 7, 8, 9, 10 drones. Reynor thought of building a spine, then changed his mind. He's still going to build a spine. The bunker gets cancelled. SCV gets surrounded. First blood is big.
First blood.
Getting an SCV that early, guys, with just the drones before the links are even out, that really is quite big. Now, this is not the all-out, all-in by Kelazhur, because we do have gases on the other side of the map. It's only 2 barracks, it's not 3, and there is a factory. But obviously, you want to get something done here. He's going to get a couple links. Now needs to make sure that his marines do not get surrounded. The Reynor wants to get the surround, gets the surround on 2 of these marines rather quickly. Honestly, this is a pretty perfect shutdown, if you ask me. We've got a spine. Reynor is completely out of the woods. I think maybe 1 drone died. I'm going to put the sound at 27. Yeah, that's not just a hold. I think that's a fantastic hold. We are now looking at a 2-base Reynor with a hatchery up and running. Queen still alive as well. We already have a worker advantage. Don't think we can be very sad about this one, guys. And these links, by the way, this is going to be annoying. Kelazhur is going to be forced to delay his CC. SCV is going to die. That's already the 3rd SCV that has died in this game. Reynor is flying. The 50-50 man is no more. Now a little Zergling gets into the main base as well. That is still nice, guys, because now you get the confirmation that there is a starport and that there is not a 3rd CC, which is a somewhat common follow-up. Like if this was a Maru game, there's a good chance this would have been a 3rd CC. Reynor drops the Roach one. No Zergling speed for the Italian Stallion, goes for the Roach one. Serral says, yikers. Why yikers, Yona? What are we yiking for? I feel like we gotta be pretty happy with this, no? You mean yikes for Diego? Oh, moving the Ovi. Okay, yeah, well. We got away with that one. We definitely got away with that one. At this point, Reynor has all the time in the world to figure out what he wants to do next. He's gonna fire up 6 roaches of a 7 worker lead. Still no second orbital for Kelazhur. This is not the way that Diego wants to start a series. Who is back in the Netherlands, by the way, guys? I know that Kelazhur spent some time in Bulgaria, where his girlfriend lives, but he's back in the Netherlands. He's gonna try to bring this game back with a little Hellion drop. 3 Hellions obviously have one-shot potential. It's important for... Oh, Reynor sending out this roaches, so this can actually hurt a little. Of course, these roaches have a lot of potential on the other side of the map, but these 3 Hellions do have serious potential in the main base. The Evo chamber block does not go down. Medevac is taking a bit of damage. 4 drones. That's all there is to it. What does Kelazhur have against these roaches? The answer is not a whole lot. He's got a couple of slow marines. Quick reaction though. He's going to run them immediately back. Going to pull the SUVs. More SUVs will die. I see that the medevac is just in the right side of the map. Not really in danger of killing more drones. Or in reach rather. Reynor not in any danger of losing more drones. Right when we say that though, the Hellions hop out. 16 worker lead. A 16 worker lead is looking mighty fine. I'm not sweating this, guys. I think we're off to a pretty good start here. I would really love to know, because some of you guys are absolute diehards, and you guys have been watching WTL for many years. Has there ever been a 17 series win streak between 2 teams when they face off in the regular season? That seems pretty insane to me. I'm sure that maybe in all the years of WTL it has happened once or perhaps twice, but it's very unique that you have 2 teams that have won this many games in a row going at it. Kelazhur is going for a 2 base all in by the looks of it. Maybe just stim, combat shield, +1, full send. Or is he still thinking of dropping a third? He's just so far behind though. I don't see how you turn this into a macro game. With this many players living in the Netherlands, we can be a true SC2 rival for South Korea. Yeah, we've got Nikita, got Kelazhur. Technically, we have Reynor, even though he's in Italy at the moment. Got Roddy, Harsum, Uthermal. I think if Red really wants to, he'd still be amazing too. Overlord gets picked off, but nothing to really worry about here. These Marines, without their upgrades, without combat shield or +1, they do not want to battle with roaches and queens. And Loco. We have Loco, yes. I thought we were bragging. Okay. Thought we were mentioning the good guys. No, I'm kidding. We love Loco. That's just a joke, of course. The roast is real. That's just banter, guys. Come on. We love Loco. That goes without saying. Kelazhur is dropping a few more barracks and is not going to go for the 2 base all in as he's got the 3rd CC finishing up. He's just basically putting himself in a spot where I guess we're going to have to turtle, right? Yeah, last time Grubby played StarCraft though, the level wasn't that high, but I think we all know that if Grubby gets serious for 2 or 3 months that he'd still be damn good. Maybe even after like 1 month he'd be pretty good. There's a good chance. Reynor should obviously be bulletproof. We even have a couple of early infestors on the production tab. Kind of like it. I think Pig would like this too. He has the spine. The spine was from the early game, Fjant. It opened up with Proxy 2-Rex. Proxy 2-Rex that honestly did not get a whole lot done. And that is putting it mildly. Kelazhur throws down a scan on the left side, gets a couple creep tumors, but Diego obviously knows at this point very little he can do offensively. The only thing he can hope for is just turtle. Get a whole bunch of tanks. Maybe a few bunkers as well. Like I think a bunker between the Nashor and the 3rd base, and then another bunker at the 3rd base. Even though Reynor at this point is obviously investing in hives, so I guess not really looking for an attack in the near future. Reynor is everywhere. The kid is feeling it. Diego told me a cool story while we were driving. I think when we stopped at Burger King, actually, on our way back from Homestead Cup, where he said that he had a pretty epic game with Reynor on the ladder, and he said he was behind, and then at one point he double dropped, triple dropped, and had 2 Liberators, and he held at home, and he thought he was in an amazing spot, and it was turning into a pretty epic game. But then he said the kid went full, and then Skillis is like, what does it mean? Kelazhur is like, you know, the kid. He went full 800 APM, links in every base. Couldn't do anything. Perfect fungal there by that kid that Diego was talking about as we land a second one as well. Back-to-back nice fungals. It's a depressive game for Kelazhur. There's not really a whole lot going his way. Can you invest a full medevac? What happens with the cargo? Yes. You can definitely neuroparasite a medevac with cargo. As these tanks, by the way, do not have any protection. This is why I said maybe a couple of bunkers would have been nice. Kelazhur did not have those bunkers in 10 minutes on the dot. It's a flawless W for Reynor. Yeah, that was a picture-perfect game, guys. The Italian Stallion, on point. Good defense early on. And Basilisk takes the 1-0 lead. That's a nice one. Because obviously if we would have somehow, in a weird universe, lost Reynor against Kelazhur 0-2, then the next series would be very scary. Because we know that Clem is an animal. Even if Trigger was our MVP against the Shopify Rebellion. But perfect start for us, perfect start for Reynor. Has Reynor lost the series yet since he turned 21? I don't think so, eh? I feel like the only defeat that Reynor has had since he's 21 is by his internet provider. Trying to stream and he disconnected 4 times in 45 minutes. I thought you cannot neuro a full medevac War Prism drop alert. I'm pretty sure you can. Why wouldn't you? So you're telling me that if I put 1 probe in my War Prism, you cannot neuro it? Okay, I did not know. So apparently you can't. There's the answer. I did not know. So we always need 1 probe in our prism. And then the prism is invulnerable. Yeah, Reynor had all the upgrades. Reynor had Hive Tech. Reynor wasn't even necessarily counting on the game ending there. To quote the great Jonas Sutala.
I was playing for a late game there. Instead he died.
That obviously is what happens if you open up with Proxy 2-Rex and you get very little done in the beginning of the game. Game 2 is going to be played on Neo Humanity. The map where Reynor had his famous game versus Spirit. It lasted for 1 hour and 30 or 1 hour and 40 minutes. Basilisk is so cool, Reynor and Serral. And Trigger. Don't forget, Mies here, that Trigger was our MVP against Shopify. A very strong team. And if it wasn't for Trigger's 2-0, there's a good chance we would have had our first loss. And Roddy, yeah, but I'm not as cool as the other 3. I think I'm kind of cool, but I'm nowhere near as cool as the other 3, let's be real. Top left side, guys. We're looking at the main base of Diego, representing Team Liquid. They are down 0-1 because this boy has been absolutely flying since he turned 21. Undefeated, besides the Italian internet. The Italian internet got the best of him, or it was Starlink. So maybe Elon Musk won, Reynor 0. But besides that, Reynor hasn't dropped anything. We need more Serral sound effects. I think I have a few more, but I have honestly been so busy lately that organizing my stream deck has kind of been on like the bottom of my priorities. I need an assistant. I think I need to start paying Victoria and see if she wants to be my assistant. I will get to that, guys. After the crazy weeks are over, once Ben's wedding is past, Saudi Arabia is past, and we've got a slightly more chill period of StarCraft 2, then I'll look into some of the funny business with the stream deck. Try to give you guys a little chuckle every now and then. Going the pig and dot route. Can you guys believe it? Pig, he lied to me. Pig said, Roddy, I tier 3 sub to you. Please send me the replays of Trigger vs. Beyond. What does Pig think? That I don't double check these things? I check and I see he's not a sub at all. Straight up lying to my face. And then Pig said, alright, you got me, I lied. However, I will pay for all of your drinks in Saudi Arabia. Pig thinks that I don't know the rules? I know you can drink in Saudi Arabia. Someone is lagging, by the way. TQL. This Pig guy, he's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The cast for Gamers 8 already announced? No. We actually don't even know yet everyone who is going, but got a pretty good idea. I mean, don't expect anything too crazy, guys. Husky is not making a appearance, if that's what you're wondering about. It's gonna kind of be the same old, same old. Maybe they'll add like 1 or 2 pro gamers. I think that'd be cool, but a couple of the usual suspects. You support Pig? Kapi Hafa? Well, that's nice, mate. I'm glad you did. I support Pig as well, but you know what I support more than Pig? The kids. And if Pig does not want to support the kids, that's on him. Year of Hearthstone. I think it'd be amazing if Hearthstone or Lambo would have been asked, but I don't know if they're thinking about that, and they never asked my opinion. If they would have asked my opinion, I would have absolutely mentioned those guys, because I think a tournament that big with that much money in the line, I think it'd be awesome to have a guy like Hearthstone or Lambo, or both even there, to give some of that extra insight, because those games, obviously, they all truly matter. We're not just there for a good time or a fun time. There is a whole lot to play for. Who's Lorimbo? Well, Lorimbo is playing tonight in a best of 5 in the big brain bouts versus Astra. So tonight you guys can get a little more familiar with the Italian Zerg, who also made a appearance at Home Story Cup. I did not see that one yet, Dcash. I did watch the press conference though. Estimated score of the total WTL match 4-2. I'll take a 4-2. But I stay away from predictions when the Basilisk boys are playing. I just want to see us bring it home. Thank you to my man Helms Deep State for the 24 months tier 3. Now that's a man who supports the kids. Reynor going for back-to-back roaches, which is kind of funny. Because Reynor will be the first to tell you guys that roaches are not really the way to go in this matchup. And often, Reynor plays roaches until he loses an important game. Then he goes back to just playing like Linkbane Hydra Lurker or Linkbane Ultra. But then slowly but steady, he falls into what he calls the roach trap. Where he lets other Zergs convince him that roaches are good in this matchup. Liquid chair and Basilisk shirt. That's an unbiased cast. I am biased in this one. I'm always honest, guys. Some people think that there is like a way to figure out if Roddy is biased or not. It's like, you can always just ask me. Ask me who I'm cheering for and I'll let you know. But of course, I am a Basilisk member. So of course I'm cheering for Basilisk here. But that doesn't mean I don't have love for Team Liquid. I said it the other day. I think Team Liquid is the most important esports org in the history of StarCraft 2. They have done more for StarCraft than any other org out there in the last 13 years. So nothing but love, nothing but respect. But of course today I'm cheering for us. We've got a Banshee sneaking into the natural of Reynor as Kelazhur is playing all out mech. It's a bit of battle mech first, and after that, well, we're just gonna turtle for days. We've got Cyclones, we've got Mechfield. We might even get some Hyperflight Rotors in this game. Yeah, Pika is a bit sad. Tomorrow is Pika's 2-month birthday. Pika's having one hell of a run, but it is perhaps time to soon replace Pika with a Raichu. Yeah, Kelazhur has indeed not really killed any workers. Reynor has had a very smooth sailing into a very strong economy, but with the way that Kelazhur has played it, he seems confident. If Diego just says, all I want to do is stabilize on 4 or 5 bases, play mech and take it from there, and I don't care how rich Reynor gets, well, he's going to get his wish. This is kind of what he signed up for. Of course, if the Hellions would have seen an opportunity, he would have tried to make something happen, but It's also kind of pointless to just randomly click 10 Hellions into a Zerg Natural when a guy like Reynor is probably going to be ready for it. Kelazhur knows what he signed up for, but he's confident that he can make something out of this game. So, seeing is believing. Pichu has nothing to do with Pikachu. Those are different. Pichu does not evolve into Pikachu. Pichu is different. You got the cast with the Finnish goat? Absolutely not. That's a lie. Pichu is not one of the original 150. It all started with the OG 150. The rest is made up. Alright. Guys, we have Overlord Speed on the way. Focus on the game. Don't lecture me about the history of Pokemon. I'm happy to see that so many of you guys care. But we might want to take a little look at Overlord Speed as Reynor is here. 78 workers is not a crazy amount, so it's safe to say that Reynor definitely does want to get a whole lot done here. Kelazhur is down 50 army supply. He's in such an awkward spot because he's forced to micro towards the right. But if he's forced to micro towards the right, the floodgates are open. And because Kelazhur is losing all those supply depots in the front, he is supply blocked. He's got 1,200 minerals in the bank. Banshees can obviously just fly. No, move your Banshee! No! Well, it was already going to be a very difficult hold for Kelazhur, but a hat trick on Banshees with Ravage's Corrosive Ball is going to be the nail in the coffin. And in the end, Reynor gets a pretty convincing 2-0, guys. That is a flying start for us. Basilisk 9-0 in the regular season. Perhaps now already en route to 10-0. Strong showing by Reynor. The 50-50 man is no more. That was Reynor in his 20s, okay? 21-year-old Reynor doesn't mess with that 50% stuff. Choose outcome. 89% of you guys thought Reynor was going to win. Reynor did win. Trigger versus Clem. Best of 2. Trigger. Clem. Draw. You guys have only 5 minutes because they start these games rather quickly. So I don't want to make this a 10-minute prediction. As far as I know, he went 4-3. Eon Blue. That's all that matters. That was a 100% win, mate. Reynor had a good weekend in Krefeld, you know. He doesn't want to disappoint the Take TV crew by scaring them that the show might end before midnight and they would get a one-sided final. That's not what Reynor does. Reynor cares about your entertainment. So what about Mimikyu then, guys? Special. If Pichu evolves into Pikachu, evolves into Raichu, where does Mimikyu come in? Is he part of the family as well? Okay. So he's just the odd one out there. Just an imposter. Yeah, I know the music is loud in between games. I can scroll it down a little. It's been a while that I had a proper WTL cast, so I kind of forgot what I do with the 27%. I know that the music in between games is loud, so I just drag it down a little bit on my Go XLR. And then once we enter the game, I'll put it back up. Now my stream is lagging as we are getting ready for a fun PvT between Clem and Trigger. Liquid is having an amazing run this year. So just to show you guys a little bit of history on why I was so hyped for this match. And still am, even though the first best of 2 was a little bit one-sided. But I guess that is what happens if Reynor is feeling it. So Team Liquid, and the very first playday of the regular season, went 1-5 against Onsite, Maru's team. But after that, those boys in blue have been on a roll. 5-1, 5-1, 5-1. 4-3 over Shopify Rebellion, 5-1 SSLT, 5-1 Berserker Esports, 4-3 against Psystorm Gaming, 4-3 against Dragon Kaisi Gaming as well. And then today they're playing against us. So 0-1 into 8-1. Take a look at the score. Wow, they do Clem dirty, man. 81? Excusez-moi, sacre bleu, qu'est-ce que fuck? I do not agree with that. 81 Clem. Are you kidding me? Clem is like a 90 plus, man. Trigger still gets 67, even though he 2-0'd beyond the other week. Alrighty, guys. Now, Skillas is currently in Israel, so that's why Skillas is not playing. Skillas is meeting up with his mom and dad in Israel. Fourth best player in the league, 81%. Yeah. That is kind of crazy. Alrighty, round 3, obviously an important one. If Trigger can just take one map for us here, then Basilisk is absolutely cooking. Trigger's got damn good PvT, guys. Skillas is from Israel. No, Skillas is in Israel. He definitely does not medicine. Nikita has no desire to go back to Russia. And I don't think we can blame him for that. That is correct, Hendel. Let's go. Just think Clem is beyond. I mean, Trigger is incredibly good. I've said that many times over the last few weeks. Unfortunately, Home Story Cup didn't go his way, but that was a tough group, right? You have Solar in that group, who made it into the grand finals and is always intimidating. You had Skillas in that group, who's just an absolute monster, especially in PvP. And you obviously had Big Gabriel as well. And Big Gabe is not an easy win for any Protoss player on this planet, so there was no shame for Trigger not making it out of this group. But obviously, he expected a bit more because he was playing very well when he was here. And he did do great for us against Shopify. But it's okay. If he gets one map here in this best of 2 against Clem, I think we can all be very happy with that. If you are supporting Basilisk, that is. Is it the first time he's meeting his parents since... well, basically since he hasn't gone back to Russia? Yes. It will be the very first time that Nikita gets to see his mom and dad... basically in 18 months, right? Started February 2022. Right now we're in... What is this? July? Yeah, 17, 18 months, give or take. Hello, Lethal. Knowing some families in similar situation as Skillas, parents in Russia and living outside, hopefully they're still getting along fine, yes. I mean, we don't need to discuss Nikita's private life too much, but Nikita is still totally fine with his parents, and just like most of us would be, he's very excited to see them again. And I'm happy for him. He actually went there already one day after we got back. So we got back from Home Story Cup on Monday, and on Tuesday morning or afternoon was his flight. You don't think that Trigger knows he was having a picture taken? No. That was Trigger's expression when they told... What? What? Alright. WTL production. I apologize, guys. That's not my fault. I don't know what just happened. But we suddenly jumped into the future. We are 3 minutes into Neo-Humanity. Top left side, it is the main base of our Frenchman, Liquid Clément. Bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of our Canadian Protoss. Back in Canada, it is Basilisk Trigger. What's happening with this stream, guys? Okay, I'm gonna give it one more shot, and otherwise I'll switch over to the other stream. I am not allowed to join the game, so this is the only way that I'm allowed to cover WTL for you guys. It's not my favorite. I love being the observer. We know that Trigger is going for a 1-gate fast expand Twilight Council into Blink. Meanwhile, Clem, ooh, you gotta respect Clem Hellions, mate. Even a Clem Hellion with like 5 HP has so much potential, but he gets it. That's big. Actually, that's so big, guys, because the Stalker was way out of position. So if that Hellion would not have been trapped there, it gets a few more shots off. How does Trigger feel about early mornings? He knows. I mean, it's been like this throughout the entire year. Sometimes we start at 4 p.m. my time. Sometimes we start at 2 p.m. But Trigger is completely fine with playing in any spot. We don't... Oh, this could... Okay. 3 Stalkers getting at least some shots off on the medevac. Clem not very happy with the fact that I got scouted. You could see it there because now it's going to be a little bit harder for Clem. No, Clem, you cannot do that. Clem, you cannot do that. I don't think you can do that. You could see Clem rolling his eyes there for a split second. This is great defense already, though, guys, by our young Canadian. Being able to deal that much damage to a medevac way before that medevac even gets close to your own natural, that's pretty big. Yeah, to answer your question quickly, Bruno, as we have one more medevac heading towards the main base. Trigger is down to play first, second, or third. It doesn't matter. He knows what he signed up for. He knows the league is important. And, well, we have a system on how we decide who plays first, second, and third. Also depends on the opponent, but I'm not going to share that with you guys. We have a double mine drop in the main base. Trigger doesn't see it. That's minus 11 probes. I make it 12. Jeez Louise. Trigger did not expect that. He expected the first medevac drop, but he obviously took care of that. He did not expect Clem to open up with double medevac, double mine drop, because that's honestly kind of bad against 4-gate Blink Stalker aggression. But perhaps Clem knows that Trigger is most likely just going to go up to 3 bases. Is not going to go for 2-base Blink Stalker aggression. That was very big. Trigger is still 7 workers ahead, guys. He saw the third with a car. But Trigger also pretty much always does this. Not 100% of the time, but in every match that matters, Trigger likes going... he said it in interviews as well. He likes the 3-base setup a little bit more, as we have once more the mine drop showing up. Gets the Stalker, gets 2 more probes. At least with the build that Trigger has gone for, he has a pretty good economy, so he can sort of recover from losing a few probes. But it's obviously adding up. Clem is now on 40 army supply, Trigger only at 19. There is a chance, but it's going to get very difficult. Oh. Isn't it almost GG? If Trigger had a later third, yes, I would say it is GG. Right now, I think Trigger is still allowed to dream and hope. But we obviously need Colossus in the perfect position. And ideally a nice overcharge as well. But it's not that bad. It's rough, but there is hope. Okay, we cannot lose Stalkers though. And obviously Blink is on cooldown for a brief moment. Love the way that he's positioning the Stalkers. Always in a perfect horizontal line. So all 4 Stalkers shoot at once. Very nice. Obviously Clem doing a good job there with making sure Marauders tank the shots and not Marines. We have another turret going down in the natural. I don't really hate this. Like, this is a little bit of economic damage. As long as we don't lose Colossus here, we should be fine. I would have been a lot more worried about an interference matrix. I'm a little bit less worried about other turret harass. Even though Clem is multitasking all over the place. Oh, we need to make sure that we don't lose all of it. Clem doing some burrow on burrow and retarget micro. Trigger focusing a little bit more on the army fight. Obviously, 5 probes have gone down. Hopefully Trigger is not taking too much addition. Oh my goodness, we missed a massive Widow Mine shot. Clem with the burrow on burrow micro was able to get a single mine off on 9 probes. The observer didn't show it, but obviously we lost 5 probes before. We lost 14 probes right now. So we missed a moment of greatness there by Clem. While Trigger was focused a little bit more on the army fight, Clem was focused on his Widow Mines. That wasn't really a Neil mine drop. That was just Clem doing the burrow on burrow retargeting. And apparently Trigger thought it was over, sent all the probes back, and they must have been clumped up. So Trigger lost 9 probes there to a single mine. It's a real shame that the observer didn't catch it. This is also why it's better if I'm the observer, guys. Because Roddy doesn't miss those tiny details. Reynor will say I do, but you guys know that he's full of it. So Clem obviously is going to be happy with how that went in the end, because he was able to save the majority of his battle units. That Raven is still being a nuisance in the natural of Trigger. And Clem throughout this game right now has killed 26 probes or something, right? 26 or close to 30. For the first time since the beginning of the game, Trigger has now fallen behind in the worker department too. And now that is not a place where you ever want to be against Clem. Especially not if Clem has access to girls, has access to Vikings. Reynor is actually the not low when it comes to observing. And that's okay, because he's great at many other things in life. Yeah, he's observing. I think Roddy, after 2 bottles of Jack Daniels, will still observe better than Reynor. Year of the Roddy observing. Mate, in Stormgate, people are always like, Roddy, you're going to be a pro player, you're going to be a caster. No, I'm going to be an observer, baby. I'll be the observer. No pressure. I can just sit in my cage all day. And I'll be the finest. What's so bad about Reynor's observing? Reynor observes at the speed of light. And he also does this thing where you click on the camera on the minimap and then you just drag it around. But it stutters like crazy. So it's very fast and it stutters non-stop. He also rotates through the tabs like he is spamming hotkeys in the beginning of the game. So you guys can see the army, workers, and income for like 0.2 seconds. Clem is here with 180 supply as the Vikings are in a very good spot here. Would love to see that Colossus get healed up by a battery, and it does. Trigger just buying some time. I don't hate that blink as long as we stay away from the Marauders. Obviously, if the Nexus finishes up, guys, we can overcharge. Beautiful army positioning here by Trigger. Man, what a fight so far. What a fight. Trigger did that perfectly. All of that was perfect. The Colossus survived. The majority of the Stalkers survived. The Nexus survived. That actually was so much harder than what it perhaps looked like. Absolutely amazing fight there for Trigger. 2 auto turrets, gunned down a battery, and also grabbed 2 probes. Just because that fight was amazing, that doesn't mean all of a sudden the Trigger is obviously winning this game. But if you can land a sweet Nova, perhaps. One shot. Oh, Clem forgot about his Raven. Clem thought it was in a sweet spot, but it wasn't. So Trigger takes care of the Raven as well. And a young Canadian, man. His PvT is just sexy. Even in a game where he did take a little bit of an economic beating from Widowmine drops. He's getting himself in a more than playable spot. We need to be careful with that one Colossus because it's very low on HP. Wow, a Widowmine from the low ground fires across the broken bus. Good split there by Clem. It was actually kind of difficult because Clem only saw that towards the end. One more Nova flies forward. This is the final one, I believe. I don't think there are any other Novas. Can the Stalkers blink to gun down some of these Vikings? Would not hate that. One Colossus does fall. The Disruptor's getting targeted as well. Second Colossus falls, so only a single Colossus remains. We do have double Robo. Clem feels that he can chase his army. Snipes one more Disruptor. Avoids the Nova. Alright, beautiful micro by Clem in that fight. Of course, I'm cheering for Trigger, but we will always give kudos and love to Clem. Clem played that very well. Also, right before the 2-2 upgrades, and that is a bit intimidating for Trigger. Clem getting his hands on 2-2 right about now. Trigger also has +1 armor and +2 attack, but still a 1 upgrade advantage on the side of the Frenchman. Kind of just working with more of the same. Trigger trying to get up to 5 bases, taking that base on the right side. I'm definitely not aware of that one yet. Take care, Lethal. Few Novas fly forward. Clem's so good in avoiding them. I would not hate going back into a Colossus or 2. Because the Viking count is low at the moment. Clem is not remaking Vikings. Does scout that base on the right side with a Marine. As Trigger drops the Dark Shrine. I'd kind of like to see a few more Colossi here. Just 3, 4. Alright, while Clem is going for that base, Trigger is going to try to take control of the center of the map. Gets a cancel on and Nexus. And so hard for a Terran to run into a Protoss army on the high ground. Obviously, what Trigger is doing here is dangerous, but I don't hate it. Especially not if he lands some good Novas. Gets the kill on that one. So that's minus 400 minerals. We are kind of stocky here, though, guys. We are kind of stocky. This is where Trigger wanted to be. Are we going to go for a recall then? Or do we think we can just run away? If we run away, we lose all of our Robo units. We fire a Nova, but Clem pulls a Cuckoo. One Nova should connect here in a very big way, and it does. But it's still better for Clem than I think it is for Trigger. Even though Trigger didn't really spend his money there. Let's not lose those two as well. Clem doing a great job there and just chasing down all these expensive Robo units. And honestly, only a single Nova was cash money. We had 2 or 3 other ones that were okay-ish. There's only one that was very good because Trigger blinked his Stalkers in front of those Disruptors. Trigger, spent your money, amigo. Can we, like, not battle here? It wasn't a bad move because he got a cancel on a base. He sniped a base as well, so... it wasn't bad. But now we do need to slow down a little bit because we lost a lot of our important Robo units. Trigger now warping in a couple of DTs as Clem throws down a scan. Saw an observer there on the left side. DTs. I don't think we have too many missile turrets, eh? Have you guys seen any missile turrets? Thank you to my man Longfella indeed for the 86 months. That's beautiful. Yeah, but there was no cancel. I don't believe we canceled that Nexus. I think we just donated 400 minerals there. That's a little bit of a shame. Clem has a ghost on the left. Can land a very sweet EMP on those disruptors, and that would get scary. The Novas are mostly defensively. Will that one go off? Yes, it does. One more flies forward. Gets a little connection there too. Trigger just needs to start spending his money. I'd love to see a Colossus or two. I really feel like that would help so much. We're very Zealot heavy at the moment. But if we are Zealot heavy and we're down in upgrades, we are not loving life. Zealots with +1 armor. A couple of DTs are going to try to come into the mix as well. As a Nova's going to zone away the Terran army. Not sure. Oh, I don't know about this fight, Trigger. I really don't know about this fight. I think the Terran army is better than your army. Trigger needs to land a good Nova, and he does land a good Nova in the end. Well, that helps. Now a couple of Liberators show up, but the Stalks can blink forward. That was an amazing game-saving Nova. Now pretty much all of the Terran units are inside of Medivacs. Trigger blinks forward. What a Nova there, guys. Woo! Without that one, we'd be in serious trouble. Clem has 3-3, right? 3-3 is done for Clem? Yeah. So Clem has 3-3 at the moment, and these Zealots have +1 armor. It's so hard for Zealots to have much of an impact on some of these fights. If the army supplies are above 100, it just feels that Zealots, I don't want to say they're useless, but they're definitely not very useful. They're in the middle. If we want to keep making Zealots, we need better armor upgrades. As now a couple of probes are falling to multiple Liberators. Justice!
Justice reigns from above!
Yeah, those Libs, by the way, have advanced ballistics, and that is a problem because Trigger did not open up with a Stargate. So I don't even really know how we're going to take care of that. Clem is kind of popping off. Nice Nova there, though, again by Trigger. Love the dance between the Micro of Clem and the Purification Novas from Trigger, but Clem now sees an opening to go for it. Does eat one more big Nova to the face. The Trigger, his economy right now is just in the dumps. He's never truly been able to secure that 5th base. And the Liberators, I think, are a bit too much. We have warped in a few more Zealots. We're going to blink forward. We have to walk through the circles of death. Actually, this is going pretty well. And I think we need to disengage right now, though. Trigger, we need to disengage. Probes are in the mix, too. I think a good game by Trigger, guys. He honestly played well, but Clem is an absolute animal. We have a few DTs on the other side of the map, but even though he's on the other team, I always have to give a little round of applause for how good Clem is. Kid is an absolute beast if he's feeling it. And perhaps a few Novas connected in a slightly bigger way than it was supposed to happen, but well done, Clemo. Clem basically just starved the Trigger on 4 bases. Made it impossible for the Canadian to go up to 5. Trigger not ultra happy with that one. It was a good game. It's a good game from 2 excellent StarCraft 2 players. That means it's still Basilisk in the lead, but our 2-0 lead has now dropped to a 2-1 advantage. Trigger will have map pick, but there isn't really like one map where you can be like, yay, Protoss against Terran. Like, what do you guys think he picks? I have no idea, to be honest. What do you pick against Terran? Ancient? Ancient or Altitude? Yeah. Don't think we want to pick Grass one, so I think Altitude is a bit weird. I wouldn't hate it though. I think I would pick Altitude, but I think Trigger picks Ancient. But Clem is actually very good on Ancient, so I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Clem plays Ancient in best of 3s. I think the best map you can pick is Altitude. He goes Grasvan. That was the 3rd one that I mentioned, but I think that's rough. Grasvan is right up the ballpark of Clem. Right up his alley. He's so good there. Yeah, guys, we might actually start at minute 4. I just wanted you guys to notice. Rooting for Basilisk, but Elazer will smash this guy Serral, unfortunately. And Miko is dangerous. Everybody knows that Miko is dangerous. They announced the Home Story Cup rewards, by the way. So all the players that won a bonus. Elazer was one of them. He got $500 extra. You're welcome, Miko, if you're listening. Link. The Roddy Discord. Exclamation mark Discord. Or Twitter. Both works. Altitude is also good for Clem. I'd much rather play Clem on altitude than on grass one. Because I think on altitude you can get a serious build order advantage. While on grass one, maybe we full send it. How good is Trigger's ping to Europe? I think they probably play one game on Europe, one game on NA. Lambo says, do you want me to co-cast if it's 2-2? Absolutely, Lambo. Have I ever turned you down, Lambo? You or Louvre can hop into this stream in any given moment and co-cast. Now, if I have my way, I pick Louvre, but if Louvre is not here and you're here, I'll settle for you. Understandable. Be very nice if we don't miss the first 3 minutes of the game this time. Be much appreciated. So after this, guys, it's one more game between Clem and Trigger. Then it's either going to be 2-2 or it will be 3-1 in favor of Basilisk. The final best of 2 is scheduled to be Serral versus Elazer. If either team has a 4-2 or a 5-1 lead, obviously that is the end of the Clem War. If it's 3-3, we go to an ace match. Now, who is the ace of Basilisk? I'm down to play Nazgul, by the way, guys. If it comes to an ace match, and the boys of Team Liquid are watching right now, and Nazgul wants to settle the ace match with Roddy, 2 old Dutchies going at it. Victor, I just want you to let you know that I'm down, okay? I know you had a great run in MLG one day. You took out Idra. If you want to pick that mouse back up and you want to settle it between TL and Basilisk, Roddy is ready. Yeah, I'm dodging Dr. Dario for sure, 100%. Dr. Dario is way too good. But Victor? Battle of the Dutchies? I'm down. Wouldn't be surprised if Victor still beats me. He's pretty good. The ace with TLO would have been nice. To be fair, that it'd be fun. If I'm playing well, I can have a fun series with TLO. But WTL Code S is pretty serious, guys. That's not where you have a fun little match between TLO and Roddy. Alrighty, we're only 48 seconds into the game this time around. In the top left side, representing Team Liquid, that was Clement. In the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of the man who played a fine first game. Unfortunately, it was not enough. This is Basilisk, a Trigger. It's the second match, Paperfin. Reynor against Kelazhur. Reynor honestly played very well. Diego is a great player, but nothing really went his way in either of the 2 games. It was a pretty one-sided series. And even if a lot of you guys will think, well, Reynor against Kelazhur is always one-sided, that's not the case. Kelazhur is very good and can absolutely make Reynor sweat. And once in a blue moon, even beat him. But today, Reynor took no prisoners, and it was a pretty one-sided affair. Clem gets the CC down on location very quickly. Like this for me is one of these moments where I'd actually love to see Trigger open up either one Adept Stalker or multiple Stalkers and just chrono and run them to the other side of the map. Like, I think that's so good. Especially because Clem can be a stubborn boy as well and not build a bunker. No. Trigger is back in Canada, guys. He flew home after Home Circle. Oh man, against this opening, guys, I really want to see Trigger just chrono boost some units and run to the other side of the map. Clem is going Hellion drop, maybe? Proxy starport, Hellion drop. I want to see the gateway of Trigger right now. Is he chrono boosting? I don't think he is, right? That's a really low MMR Roddy build. But it's so good. Show me the gate. We're taking a look at these sponsors every single game. I want to see the gateway. I don't think he's chrono boosting it. Clem is going to go for the Hellion drop. A bit of a Clement classic. It's absolutely amazing. So the adept stated... Oh, what a moment to scout it, though. What a moment to scout it. To the left, to the left. Everything you want in the dark, to the left. Friggin' no. It's not fair. That could have been so big. That could have been so big. Unfortunate. But maybe Trigger can still figure it out. He's going to see no bunker. 2 Marines. I swear. If Trigger would have chrono boosted 2 Stalkers, guys. I know that's not really a thing in high level StarCraft, but this would be a free win. I know, Lambo. I know. Alright, at least Trigger now knows that it's 4 Hellions. And then hopefully, knowing that he's playing against Clem, he should also know that there is a good chance there is a very early medevac heading his way. We do not have a wall off. I don't think we have money for a wall off. Here is that medevac already. It's all about the position that the units are in. Clem is just going to fly into the natural. Okay, Trigger is going to lose 17 probes, guys. Trigger is actually going to lose like 17 probes here. Well, yeah. Can I close my eyes and you guys tell me when it's over? No, he's going to lose a few more in the main. Wingend says 13. I think it's way more. Okay, that's actually a good probe pool. Oh my god, Clem with the juke, guys. Clem made it seem that he picked them back up. I mean, you gotta give kudos to Clem. That is a picture perfect juke. It's 12 workers going down. It's 14. I said 17. Keep that in mind, guys. It's 18. I gotta give kudos to Clem. That is incredibly well done. It's infuriating for Trigger. This is so frustrating. He got so close to scouting it early on. In the end, it is 19. What a juke, man. Ronaldo, and I'm talking about the real one, okay? R9, not Cristiano. I would have been proud of that one. Clem keeping the Hellions in the dark there, the little dark spot of the main base, making it seem that the Hellions hop back into the medevac, sends the medevac back, Stalkers chase it. Kudos to Clem. That is incredibly well done by the Frenchman. Sucks for Trigger, very frustrating game now. Like in that previous game, he lost a decent amount of probes, but that stuff happens. And if you go for 3 bases quickly, it's alrighty to lose 12 probes a little bit later. But losing 19 probes this early when the 3rd base wasn't even done yet. Reynor says you've seen Trigger win these. I've seen Trigger win these as well, but not against Clem. And that is a small problem. If we were playing against a lesser Terran here, I'd be like, you know what? I kind of still believe. But Liquid Clement may very well be the best TVP player on this planet. For a little while, I thought it was Gabe, at least in the 10 minutes. First 10 minutes, that is, but Clem is just so freaking good. I know he lost against Classic, and I know he lost against Max Packs last Monday. I was casting those games, guys, but Clem on point, I do really think is the best TVP player on the planet. So falling behind against him in this matchup is basically a death sentence. Thank you to Smokeping for the 53 months. Beyond felt the strongest for a while. Beyond is very good, but there is only one Claymore. I think Maru is good in TVP, but I think Clem is better. I know some people are going to be triggered by that. Fuck you, Roddy. Euro bias. Sorry, I just love Clem. I love his TVP. I think it's slightly more clutch. Cure is also next level good, yeah. We gotta give some love to Cure. Says that it's been a bit quiet around Cure because his arm was in a cast, but freaking monster these days. Clem is gonna be able to send 8 Marines into the main base. Obviously Trigger cannot really be ready for this kind of stuff because he took a lot of economic damage early on, so then you just have less map vision than you normally do. He's gonna get the tanks here, so that's kind of nice, but we are taking more economic damage, and obviously the bio units of Clem are still going strong. This game is pretty much over. Zealots don't really have a way to properly deal with these kinds of harassment. where the units just hop in and out of medevacs, go from the high ground to the low ground, back into the high ground, find themselves some sweet spots between mineral patches. It is all over. There's nothing you can do here. GG gets called, and Clem ties things up. Team Liquid back on the board. 2-2 after the first 2 best of 2s. I'm going to settle that prediction quickly, and I will give you guys a new prediction, and then we'll give Lambo a call. Since Lambo wants to cast some games with me. 78% of you guys thought Clem was going to win, and you guys were correct. Serral versus Elazer, the best of 2. Serral, Elazer, draw. It's a big match, guys. Also, because if you win without going to an ace match, you get more points. So a 2-0 here for Basilisk would be much appreciated. I'm going to mute this quickly. I'm gonna give Arman. Reynor, I just saw your message. That's funny. It really was, mate. It really was. Just had a minor heart attack. Instead of trying to call Lambo, I didn't, but I almost called Serral. But since these games are shown to us with a minor delay, I would have called Serral in the middle of a ZVZ. I would have literally been the worst teammate of all time. Basilisk would have fired me on the dot. I'm glad that I did not press that button. Servus, mein Freund.
Servus, Junge, wie geht's?
Alles super. Alright, I need your YouTube link because I always watch on Twitch and I don't have the YouTube link. So you give it to me, we sync up, and then we send it. Alright, moving on, guys. No, it's always fun. Elazer obviously had a great showing at the Home Story Cup. Did you see that he got the bonus, by the way?
I did see that he got the bonus, yeah.
If you want, I wrote my reasoning in the Discord very quickly, because I know some people will be like, oh, how can Elazer be an underdog? But I just felt that out of all the other proper underdogs, nobody really outshined one another. They were all kind of even. And then I do think coming into Home Story Cup, the top 5 would have been like Clem, Reynor, Serral, Gumiel, Solar. And Elazer outperformed some of those guys, made it into the semifinals, made it out of a tough group. And since Showtime already had a bonus for making semis, I thought it'd be fair to give Elazer a bonus as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think it was either Elazer or Showtime. I don't really think there was another option, just based on how the format went.
Yeah. No, and I would have otherwise maybe considered Showtime, but Showtime already got the bonus for the match against DNS because both players got 5 on the box in that one. And I was like, it'd be nice for both of the semi-finalists to get a little bonus. But that was Home Story Cup, guys. So let's go ahead and focus on this big match between Team Liquid and Basilisk. In the top left side, we took a look at the main base of Elazer. And then obviously, Lambo in the bottom right side.
Is Yona Serral.
The great Yona Sotala. We're live again, by the way. Some people were worried. It's like, oh, is Serral always going to play in advance? No, that was a one-time thing, guys, previous week. This match is as live as it gets. All 3 matches, obviously, today are live. If not, you guys will always know. I know you're very close with Miko. I mean, you're close with Serral as well, obviously. The Zerg Bros, they stick together. Did Elazer tell you anything in advance of this match?
No, I also didn't ask. I mean, I'm assuming he's just going to skip some evos. It's kind of... Elazer is not really... He doesn't really have any specific build orders in the early game that can catch you off guard. He's not a tricky player like Rogue or... Like, I also like to do a lot of tricky stuff in the early game. He doesn't really do any of that. He usually always plays hatch first, hatch gas pool, then he takes a third hatch, and then he skips the evo, and then he can do some wild stuff. He can just do random road challenge, he can rush the lair, go super fast mutas, and do all sorts of stuff basically from that opening that he really likes.
Do you think that Elazer can learn something from watching the best of 5 between Reynor and Serral, or would you say like, nah, Elazer should just stick with what he's good at?
I think Elazer should just stick with what he's good at, and then maybe, I mean, he can mix it up a little bit, but I know he just has a certain style that he's very used to. I don't think pulling out something completely new is gonna work on Yuna because we all tried basically everything already against him, and Reynor honestly that day just played a little better than Yuna even, so it's a little bit hard to replicate.
That first game was something else, eh?
Yeah, that was pretty good. That
was, of course, on Grass 1, as we are once more on Grass 1. Serral as a Lambo called him the other week when we did a bit of co-commentary as well, is the helmet Zerk, where it's all about scouting and then defending and play it safe, sometimes even extra safe. The double helmet Zerk, and that is obviously the approach that we expect from Yona today as well.
Yeah, that's basically what he always does. But he sometimes also goes for and takes the initiative. In ZVZ, he never really goes for like a Ling Bane pressure or like a Ling pressure, but he also sometimes can all in. I just really don't expect him to all in against Elazer, because the Evo skip is like, it's debatable if it's good or not, but the one thing it really is good against is if you're being all in, because you just have more resources to get out roaches early on. So even if your scouting is not necessarily on point, you can still defend quite a lot of stuff with too many drones because you skip the Evo. So I'm expecting Serral to just play passive for the most part, and if he wants to play it really safe, he can skip his own Evo as well, and then that way be even safer against a potential all in from Elazer.
He's the first one to fire up a couple of links, but Elazer is not trailing a whole lot behind that. So I actually kind of like this for Elazer on paper, right? Because he was able to sneak out a few more drones. We have the first 2 banelings morphing for Serral. I believe that's at the 9 o'clock base, exactly. So it's very important for Elazer to keep track of those. Elazer also has 2 banes morphing. It would be awesome if the observer could show us where that is. But I assume that it will just be defensively.
Yeah, it's just defensively. This is also just basically the defensive set of Zerglings that Serral is now using offensively. It was just 12 Zerglings. Usually he makes 10 anyway, so you can use those to deny some scouting. He got a decent trade.
I love that, by the way, Lambo. We had 2 links there on patrol, because I think Elazer was expecting a move like this, but now he still lost it because Serral took care of those links, so those 2 banelings do still sneak in. That was really awesome, because Elazer was anticipating a move like this, had 2 links on patrol, Serral saw them, he kills those 2 links, takes away the vision, and then he snuck the banelings into the natural. Super cool play by both, obviously worked out for Serral.
Yeah, that was actually sick play. He also has a massive supply block right now, Serral, that is. So he can't fire up the next round of drones, which is quite important. Otherwise, he will be way further ahead, because right now we're looking at a game where the worker counts are even. But that really should not have been the case. It's because Serral is floating a bunch of money right now. Serral also invested into the Evo, which Elazer has not. So he's going to be ahead in upgrades later on if this goes into a Roach versus Roach.
Serral wiggling in his chair, crawling forward to the camera.
He gets supply blocked again. I think he's already getting tilted here. The moment Yona makes like 2 mistakes, starts talking to himself.
He's obviously still doing fine in the game, but yeah, he could have been a whole lot further ahead than what he actually is. Does sneak 2 Zerglings into the main base, so he's going to get a very good idea on the lair timing of Elazer. He's trying to keep it around for as long as possible, so he may see it finish up. It's funny. Oh, okay, still alive, still going strong. Queen. No, it's the Ling in the end, but obviously good scout there by Yona.
Miko has this, which is really funny, that he starts around 5 minutes to 6 minutes. He's floating so much money every single time. We could see in the main base there was no inject for quite a while, which is obviously a mistake. And now he's just floating money, which makes it way more funny because he goes for the Evo to get a couple of extra minerals, but then he just floats those minerals. Even though he says they're just gonna snowball. He's gonna mine more, and it's gonna snowball, but then he always floats 800 minerals, and that obviously doesn't help.
I think throughout the history, we've had a couple of very high-level, successful players in tournaments as well, where if you looked at their play, it never quite looked perfect, but they were still very successful.
Yeah.
And I think of Mana, even in his glory days, right? Like, Mana was incredibly good, but it never looked that clean. Drogo, kind of as well, also very good, very successful from time to time. And of course, the best example ever, I think, is Zest, where Zest was so far from optimal, but still so damn deadly in tournaments. And I think Elazer kind of falls into that category as well. Now we've got Spire against Spire here, Lambo. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it's really good for the player who actually scouts the Spire. Elazer is just praying to God that his opponent is not going Spire himself. And yeah, Serral obviously knows that his opponent is going Muta without his opponent knowing that it's also Muta, so he can move out now with the Roaches, force extra Roaches. Then he's gonna have more gas. 2 Banelings running in, getting 6 workers.
I just realized we never synced up the game, by the way.
Exactly. I'm 659.
Yeah, 7, 1,
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Same.
Is there a world where Elazer goes Corruptor?
Usually I don't think you can go Corruptor like this. But if he goes Corruptor now, it's extra bad because Serral is going for a Hydra then. He kind of has to now because he realizes, okay, there's already Mutas from his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to be honest, I think the perfect play would have been to cancel the Spire and make a Hydra then and defend with Queens only. But yeah, he already finished the Spire, now he's trying to make Corruptors. Serral already anticipating the Corruptor move, so he already has the Hydra then ready. He's also still ahead in upgrades. And generally, Roach Ravager Hydra is better than Roach Ravager Corruptor.
Well, we've seen Corruptors in the grand finals of IEM Katowice sniping Hydra Den and Lurker Dens. That was a play.
That was a play, yeah. glittering ashes.
Yeah. Alright. So there's a good chance that maybe Elazer just makes now a few more drones, has these Corruptors for safety, and then he just maxes out on Roach Ravager and tries to end the game? Or do you think that Elazer will also try to drop a Hydra Den and really turn this into a proper macro game?
I hope for him that he just stays defensive and messes Ravagers as many as possible. Because I think Serral is going to attack into him. I don't think Elazer ever needs to transition until Serral throws down the Infestation Pit and he's already a little bit behind. So I think for him, it's the most important thing right now is staying alive. And the way he can do that is with mass Ravagers. The one thing that the Corruptors enable him to do is that he can do a Roach run by the moment he sees Serral move out, because he obviously cleared all the Overlords on the map.
Serral's still getting some very good value out of these Mutas, by the way, since the Corruptors were Overlord hunting. These Mutalists that are really not that important for Serral anymore, very casually grabbing 10 drones. That's honestly quite good. And Serral's main army is moving out now as well. And Elazer has completely lost track of this army of Serral. And you look at the +2 missile attacks, by the way, Lambo. There's a good chance that Serral will be able to hit this +2 timing, while Elazer is just not ready to receive it. The Ravagers are very exposed as well. An amazing start to this fight for Serral.
Yeah, great start to the fight of Serral. His army is also just better. He has more Ravagers, he has more Hydras, he has +2 against +1. He basically hit the perfect timing. The only way Elazer could have ever defended this was with a concave, but instead he decided to go for his own counterattack, which means he has even less army at home. And he had the worst position, so Serral closed out the first game in a clean manner.
3-2 for Basilisk, as we are now one match away from getting the perfect 10-0. Elazer needs to win the next game to send it to an ace match. Team Liquid's win streak is on the line. What is the kind of map that Miko picks when it's for all the marbles and he just needs to win one map in a ZVZ? We pick Neo Humanity or something?
I think you have to pick Neo Humanity or Altitude, but I know that Miko vetoes those maps as well. I think he vetoed Altitude against me, so I hope he picks Neo Humanity, because it's somewhat random. Serral might be afraid of a 12 pull. Yeah. I think Neo Humanity would probably be the best pick.
Now this map is very important regardless. Some people may think like, oh, even if it goes to an ace match, it's fine. At the moment, Onsite still has one more point than Basilisk. And you get 1 point less if you win by an ace match. So for us to win in just the regular first 6 games, it's very important. Because then we get a deeper seed into the playoffs. If we finish above them, obviously. We still have to play them. Goes for Royal Blood, Lambo. People in the chat are wondering why. Why Miko? Why Royal Blood?
It's because he can wall with 2 buildings, so he doesn't need the Evo to wall, unironically. That's why he really likes the map. But it's still a short map, so it's still a decent map to get a map win. I know that's the map that Scarlet won her map on against Serral a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it's still a very short map. It doesn't quite have the Neo Humanity factor where you even can take a forward base with the rich gas, which adds a little bit of extra randomness. But a decent pick, I think.
Alrighty. Elazer knows what he's fighting for. It's obviously an important one for Team Liquid, who are already guaranteed of making it into the playoffs of WTL Code S as well. But getting a few more wins in the regular season would really help them, because they are still in the running to literally get like a top 2 or even top 1 finish. Bottom left side, Team Liquid's Elazer. Top right side, Basilisk, Serral. Match point for Basilisk. And obviously the start perhaps for Yona to start another streak, because that streak that you mentioned ended against the Shopify Rebellion with Scarlet stealing a map from Serral.
Yeah, I mean, if Team Liquid wins this, they have a decent chance to even get ahead of you guys, because you guys also still have onside.
Yeah, no, but they can get ahead of all of us, because we can beat onside. If Team Liquid beats Basilisk here, but Basilisk beats onside, and all of those things are possible, they could literally still finish first.
You guys would still be ahead because you have better map score. And same points it would be then. I guess if they beat onside in an ace match. If you guys beat onside in an ace match.
Yeah, but that's very possible.
No, but then onside also would need to lose this week to Abydos, which I guess is also. I mean,
Very
some crazy things.
Very
would need
possible, Lambo. I only
Very-
hear things
okay.
that are possible over here, mate.
I think very possible. I would call it unlikely, but sure, it's also possible. at
Hey,
the same
hey, the
time.
last time you said I was coping, I was spot on, amigo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that was, honestly.
It's a body brain, mate. Or as they say, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Could have been that.
Yeah, if you use it again this week, then this time it would have been wrong. But I don't think you.
No, I didn't say it.
This-
I said I
yeah.
hope for a 1-1, but I thought it was
Okay.
going to be very hard. Not because I don't believe in Trigger, but Clem is just an absolute freaking animal. I don't know. I know Beyond is incredibly good too, but Clem, for me, in the comfort of his own house, when he's feeling it on point, for me, he's even next level. Like, just the most difficult challenge, I think, for any Protoss is playing Clem with 0 ping when Clem is at the comfort of his own house. Like, I think that's the final boss in PvT.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, personally, I'm cheering for Elazer here because I kind of want to see a Clem vs Serral ace match. The funny thing is that Serral doesn't even like altitude that much in ZVT, so maybe you guys would even send Reynor then, which would make for a very exciting ace match. So I'm kind of on the side of Miko here in this one.
I mean, I don't think Clem is expecting the Roddy Phoenix Zealot, mate, if we get there. That's how
would be
we
a
really
surprise
get
for
them.
sure.
He loads up 3 Hellions and a matter of fact, bam, 3 Phoenixes mid-air, 0 probes go down. Let's go, we're cooking. That's the strategy, Lambo. All right, what do you see here? We're 3 minutes into Royal Blood. Obviously, these two have been mirroring one another. We don't see anything out of the ordinary yet, but do you see something that the casual eye doesn't, Lambo?
No, they're just playing normal so far. Yona once again is firing up 12 links. If you play defensively, usually it's just 8 links, so I'm assuming he's going to run across the map again, but this is like the least committed link bane pressure ever. He doesn't even need to run in and he's still going to be even. And Elazer once again with 8 defensive links, he has a 3rd queen on the way. I think one thing you might have realized is that Elazer never puts a creep tumor. Usually Zergs put a creep tumor, so they have their bases connected. Elazer has a little bit of a harder time defending link bane pressure.
Where is
Because he
Serral
doesn't have
morphing
the
his
creep
banks?
connection.
Sorry to cut you off there, but where is Serral
On the right
morphing
side.
Right side of the natural of Elazer?
Yeah, top right of the natural, yeah.
Ooh, okay, yep. There they come. This time around, it does feel that Elazer gets a much easier heads up, and Elazer says, you know what, I'm not going to break my brain over this. I'm just going to go for the 2-for-2 trade. But Lambo, he has fired up a whole bunch of additional Zerglings. We still have 2 Banelings left over. Elazer is full, sending it to the other side of the map. Yona drops a Roach Warren, is not totally ready yet. This is not going to be easy for Serral.
Yeah, he has 2 banelings ready and he's moving forward with the 2 queens to defend the hatchery. He needs to use 1 baneling. That was a decent baneling connection, making sure that he doesn't lose the next one. Now Elazer can maybe blow up the baneling with 2 of his own. I think that would be a good place. Zoning it out. He's definitely going to get the hatch. Let's see how many
Oh,
Zerglings
Serral
he's
with the
gonna lose.
misclick. Serral
Yeah,
with the misclick. He blew up all of his own banelings there on the left side. So Serral does not only lose the hatchery. Yona shows us that he's human as well. And he manually detonated all of his banelings in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that was fantastic for Elazer. Serral now going for a roach pressure. I really don't think he's going to all in because he doesn't have the larva to do so. But he has to make roaches at this point. And I think just these 5 roaches, theoretically, Elazer could even defend with Ling Bane. I don't think Elazer has his own roach war. Needs to watch out here against his opponent's Ling Bane aggression now. But micros pretty decently. Could have been a little bit better. I don't think that baning was necessary. And oh, he actually does have his own roach war, and he's making 6 roaches himself. So it's looking quite good for Elazer here.
Yeah, that is perhaps the understatement. Serral is going to try to slowly but steady bring this back. Does get a good trade there, a 1-for-2. But after losing the hatchery and losing all those defensive banes, Yona needs a little more than trading 1 baneling for 2 baneling. And he knows that, so he's going to try to get some more magic going his way with the banelings. But good micro there by Elazer. We're going to give Miko some kudos, and yeah, Miko should be absolutely fine here. And he can just take the game from here on out. Is still building love roaches. Is still building ravages. Lynx could surround those roaches, by the way. Serral could be in a bit of a pickle as one of the roaches already goes down. I don't know how many Lynx there are out on the map for Elazer at the moment, but Serral's in all sorts of trouble. Both of them actually having a decent amount of minerals. Like, Serral, of course, lost the hatchery, so it maybe makes sense that he couldn't spend all of his money. Imagine if Elazer would have spent those 600 minerals he's sitting on right now. Serral would be ultra dead.
Yeah, I think you just can't. I mean, this is why usually you have +1 carapace with this. Elazer now also realized, okay, this is probably not going to work. Fires up a bunch of drones, which is really important because I think that attack was not it. I wish Elazer just made drones instead of the extra Zerglings, because Elazer definitely felt some weakness and he was like, okay, maybe I can kill him here. But then he realized that this is probably a stupid plan because he's obviously just making roaches since he's on 2 base and otherwise he can't spend his money. So at this point, he has retaken the worker advantage, but he's really far behind in upgrades. And he's so afraid he's even making a spine crawler while he's up 14 army supply.
Yeah, that's an odd one right there. Elazer making a spine is probably going to cancel it after he scouts his lair. Exactly, snap cancels it immediately. Yeah, Elazer was worried about something there that absolutely wasn't happening. Is now dropping his own even chamber, taking all the extra gases. You think Elazer goes for a spire immediately as soon as the lair is done?
I hope so, because otherwise he's just going to be down 2 upgrades when they play Roach versus Roach. So I think he needs to do something like that. He just severely misread his position. Even if there was an all-in from Serral, it could have never been strong enough to kill him, while he made like 10 Roaches himself on 40 workers. Yeah, it's a little bit questionable for sure. He now fires up his own Roach speed and +1. He still has the gas for the Spire, and maybe he's going to start it once the Overseer is dealt with.
Serral is looking pretty bulletproof here. Elazer fires up Overlord speed and a Drop-a-Lord. Okay, maybe we're going to drop a couple Banelings on the mineral line. Is that the plan?
Yeah, probably. It's very common with Overlord speed to drop 1 Overlord worth of Banelings and the other one with Roaches. And then you can start trying to out-multitask your opponent. Just a little hard when your opponent is Serral. Oh my god, okay, good dodge.
Yeah, that's a dangerous game to play, a dangerous game to sign up for. Serral drops the Hydra then because I think he's expecting the Spire.
Yeah, 100%. You would never just drop a Hydra then Roach versus Roach because Ravagers are better to have in that case. So it's just a safety Hydra then. It builds fast, it's kind of cheap, so I can respect it. It's a classic helmet play, really.
And it produces the mean killing machine as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call the lightweight the mean killing machine, that's
hey, lightweight champions are champions too, Lambo.
it's true.
Alright, we have 3 Banelings and a Roach, so there is a good chance that maybe Elazer hops that Roach out first, and maybe defensive drones start clumping up. I do kind of like what Elazer is doing now, where he's just doubling down on like Roach, Ling, Ravager, and as Serral is spending some money on, defensive stuff, like a Hydra then, that won't really come into play. I think Elazer is just going to fully send it with +1 Roaches and Ravagers, and that absolutely is a move. The Roach is probably going to come out first, or we go for Banelings. Serral's already expecting the Banes. There isn't really a whole lot of drones to kill here.
Yeah, if you actually follow the Overlord with a Roach, even just 1 Roach, the Banelings will instantly explode. You can't micro them anymore. So that's a little tip for the Zerg players.
Right, that is an army though, Lambo. That is an army, and Serral's actually splitting off a bit of his army, going to the left side. I don't know if that was the play for Yona though. Because if I'm Elazer here, I'm shoving this army down, especially if you spot these Roaches in the bottom left side. Elazer has more units here, and this is when the upgrades are dead even for a split moment. This should be going well. Good defense, at least against the Drop-a-Lord, but I still feel this fight should favor Elazer. He's showing a lot of respect to way less units of Serral.
Yeah, I think it was really difficult to get a proper concave there. I think he tried his best to go in. Obviously, there were Roaches following the Overlord plus the counterattack, so you're absolutely right. There were more Roaches here for Elazer, but I think not big enough. The advantage was not big enough to tank the corrosive bites in order to get into a better concave. But I mean, it's Elazer, so he's behind in upgrades now, so he has to deal with that. The game otherwise is still pretty okay. Needs to pay attention here, not run into the crossbites. Lose a couple of Roaches, but that's still okay.
Yeah, but now there's indeed that upgrade advantage is going to kick in. I do really think that Elazer's best chance was just to right-click ultra deep into it and get right on top of the units and let the numbers do their thing. As Elazer is going to try to run 5 Roaches into the natural of Serral. Serral's there with the Queen to block it. Overseer is going to show up as well to detect these Roaches. It's always nice to be the guy that strikes first, right? When it comes to KOs of like, oh, tunneling claws with Roaches everywhere. It is nice if you start this dance.
100%. It's so much easier to be the attacker than the defender. In general in StarCraft, but in these mirrors as well. But Yona already counter-attacking. Not respecting the attack of Elazer as much that to the degree where he thinks he can't afford to counterattack at the same time as well. And this is usually where Serral is simply the best player in the world in the Roach Burrow movement, whereas Roach Burrow movement, he's so good.
Yep. We have 2 roaches working on these drones in the third base. Still a couple of roaches of Yona in the bottom right side. And that bank of Serral has suddenly exploded as he's still maxed out. Also working on +1 carapace. So even when Elazer finally gets his hands on +2 missile attacks, he's still going to be down an upgrade in give or take 30 seconds if Serral is going to get the first armor upgrade of the game. But at least we've got a proper game on our hands. And Serral's the one with a 9 worker lead, which means that Elazer is going to have a few more roaches and ravagers to work with.
Yeah, I think the best move for Elazer is to get all of his army together. Hope that Serral counterattacks with a bit too much and then get that decisive army victory. Because if he just keeps trading, it's looking pretty rough for him. Because A, he's getting outmined, and B, Serral already traded better than him, which means he already has a bigger bank to work with. So I hope this doesn't go into late game. Like, sometimes the best chance to win these games is you let your opponent kill a couple of workers. And then you get like a massive army, and you do that move where you shove it in. Try to get on top of your opponent's production. I think that's one of the highest win percentage moves right now that Elazer has.
Yeah, I think we all remember a couple of the old school games between Serral and Reynor, where Serral did a whole lot of things right up to the point where Reynor had no more drones, and then Reynor's like, cool, 180 army supply, good luck, have fun, Yona. And it's very hard to hold that. Serral is losing a lot of drones at this point, though. 20 workers go down, so at least Serral will be able to remax on a very big army too. Elazer is displaying some pretty fine multitasking, but will end up paying a pretty hefty price for all this damage. But kudos to Miko. He just managed to do way more damage to Serral than Serral was able to deal to him in a Roach Ravager battle.
Serral is now actually doing the move that I was talking about, just maxing out on a massive army supply, while Miko is the one who is actually re-droning. So his army supply is not as big as Serral's at this point.
And he's down an upgrade. It's all about Ravagers, right? It's all about Ravagers getting him in the right position. That's a lot of supply to send into your main base as well. A lot of the roaches of Serral are still burrowed. Little mistake, but those corrosive balls, sweet baby Jesus. As Elazer's army just disappears there. This is not a fight that Elazer really wants to commit into, as he's having a hard time spending his money too. It seems that Elazer all of a sudden is in a serious amount of trouble. There are still roaches of Serral in his main base as well. Elazer feels that this is the fight to take. He does get +1 carapace as well, but it is not going to be enough. GG, despite the fact that the man lost the third base, blew up his own Banelings, he still gets the dub. It's a 2-0, and that means that Basilisk will get the W today. 4-2 over Team Liquid. Someone's streak had to end, Lambo, and unfortunately for the boys in blue, it's theirs.
Yeah, exciting clan war. Really would have liked to see the ace match, because Clem's ZVT, when he's playing from home, it's actually insane. It's a treat to watch. So a little bit sad that we missed out on that, but still a fun clan war. I really wish Miko just made drones instead of making units when he killed the third hatch, because the advantage you get from killing the third hatch is not that your opponent has less units, because most of the time, once you lose your third hatch, you make roaches to just spend your money. Otherwise, you would just float money if you're still making drones. So attacking after you kill the third is just basically always the wrong choice, and I think he, I don't know, maybe just overestimated Serral at that point, because he was in a really good spot.
Yeah, at multiple moments, I think, almost throughout the game. Elazer was in a good spot. Yeah, you think back of that moment, and I think rightfully so. I really wish that he would have YOLO'd a bit more with his big army at the third base of Serral. And I know it's hard, and I know you're going to eat a couple of Crucibles, but he had a serious number advantage there. Serral had a lot of units scattered across the map, had some units chasing roaches around. Like, I think at that point you just right-click behind the army of Serral and basically try to gobble it up. Would have been hard, I'm not saying it's a guaranteed win, but I think when you play against Yona, you know how dangerous he is if he ever stabilizes. I think that's the moment you send it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I take those chances any day against Yona.
All right, Lambo, thank you so much for stopping by for a little bit. Who are you guys playing this weekend?
We're playing against Invictus Gaming. I think we have Invictus Gaming left, and then Platinum Heroes. So a little bit of an easier finish to the regular season than you guys.
All right. Wish you guys all the best, and thank you for stopping by, mate.
Yeah, no worries. GG's.
GG's. Bye-bye. Alright guys, that was our man Lambo. I'm gonna go ahead and take a tiny break, and by the time that I come back, we should have a little interview with the Basilisk boys. Another dub for us. We are now 10-0 in the regular season. I mean, that is literally as good as it gets, even though we lost a few points by going to Ace Masters. I was responsible for one of those points being lost, but it is no biggie. That means there is only one match for us left in the regular season. And that is on the final play day against On-Site Gaming. So that is going to be a very big one. The date for that one is... Let me just take... I think it's the weekend of the 20th. No, it's next week. What's the date? July 16th, guys. July 16th, absolute last match of the regular season. On-Site versus Basilisk. That is going to be big. We have SSLT against Storm Gaming that I will watch as well. So if you guys want to watch more WTL, you guys can stick around. I'll even run a prediction for Tootming against Special. But first, I'm going to take a little break, and then we're going to have a little interview the way we always do it. So give me a couple minutes to set it up. I'll see you guys soon to have a little chitty-chat with Serral, Reynor, Trigger. See you soon.